Hello, I'm Dr. Stephanie Fade. Welcome back to Eating Mindset and to this, the second video in our Perfectly Portioned Bite-Sized series. Now today we're going to be looking at complex carbs, and specifically today we're going to be looking at pasta and grains. And I plan to do a separate video looking at potato and bread. So getting back to today and the pasta and grains. Many of my clients, I am finding, are serving themselves double, triple and even quadruple the sort of portion size that they should be having for the number of calories that they're aiming for. Now I need to point out that the number of calories that you'd be aiming for is going to vary from person to person, and that's why you need an individualised consultation to work out what that looks like for you and to then work out what that looks like in terms of a portion. But many of the clients that I see are looking to try to put together a meal that would come to about 300 to 400 calories. And so they're looking really for a carbohydrate portion that will give them about 200 calories. So what I've done today is I've worked on portions that will give you around 200 calories with one exception, and we'll come to that in a moment and explain why. Now it's important to say that complex carbohydrates are a very key part of the diet. I know it's quite fashionable now to think about low carb diets, and certainly if you go on a low carb diet you will lose weight. But carbohydrates are important for helping us to feel fuller and hence less likely to snack on unhealthy foods later. And also, particularly if we can manage to have the whole grain varieties, they're very good for protecting us from bowel disease and bowel cancer in particular. And so I really do try to encourage my clients to include carbohydrate as part of the diet rather than go on a low carb or a carb-free diet, as some people have even been talking about. So on to the particular foods that we're looking at today. So first of all, the pasta, and what I've done is I've based this on these fusilli spirals. Obviously you may use different types of pasta, so you're going to have to do an initial weigh out and calculation based on whatever it is that you use. But the portion size suggested on the side of the pack for these was 75 grams, which gave about 270 calories. So we were looking to put together a portion that would be about 60 grams to give around 200 calories. And what I found was that came to about 26 of these fusilli spirals. So the best thing to do really initially while you're getting used to what it looks like is to count them out and then see what it looks like on the plate. Now, as you can see, it is quite a small portion, and I think a lot of my clients are very used to having the whole dinner plate covered with pasta. So that can be quite a shock to the system if you're trying to control your weight. And so some people have been finding it useful to use a smaller plate, but I've also found it helpful for people to sometimes use a bowl. So if we put the pasta in there, I can show you what it would look like. It just looks slightly better in a bowl, and then what you can do is put your veg on top of the pasta and then pile your protein portion on top, and it can even look quite presentable and even quite chefy if you do it like that. So that's just one idea that you could use for the pasta. So moving on now to rice. And in all cases here I've put these on a plate with some cling film over the top. That's literally just to stop it moving around quite so much because the plate's very slippy. So I find that if I hold it up to the camera, everything just flies everywhere. So that's the only reason why the cling film is there. So again with the rice, now in this case again it's white rice. It would be better if you could have whole grain rice, that would be brilliant. But this portion again is a portion that would give you around 200 calories, which was about 60 grams rather than the 75 grams recommended on the side of the pack. And the best way I found of working that out was to use one of these measuring spoons. You know how you get these sets of spoons to measure different volumes, and this is the measuring spoon for 1 tablespoon or 15 mils. It says that on there. And I found that the right portion of rice to give about 200 calories was 6 of these spoons. So you could just dip it into your saucepan and serve yourself out 6 spoons. So that's one way of managing the rice. Now I did mention that there was one grain where we haven't gone for 200 calories, and that's this couscous. And it's because most of my clients were saying that the amount on the plate here, which is really provides about 100 calories, was an adequate portion for them, and they would rather on this occasion make up the calories with a bit more protein and a bit more veg. So I just thought it would be useful to show you there what a 100 calorie portion of couscous would be like. So you get more bang for your buck with couscous than you do with the pasta and the rice if you're trying to manage your weight. And the best way I found of measuring out the couscous was to use a serving ladle that I have in my kitchen, and I found that this 100 calorie portion of couscous, which is about 100 grams, was one heaped serving spoon. Now every serving spoon is going to be different, so you will need to test your own, but that's just what happened to work out in my kitchen. So you may find that you need to go back to using your 15mm measuring spoon if that works better based on the types of utensils that you've got in your house. So I think that portion looks okay on the plate, and there's no need really to put it in a bowl or a smaller plate. So that might be something to bear in mind if you're finding that psychologically difficult. I hope that was helpful, and as I say, we'll be doing another video looking at bread and potatoes, and then I'm going to be doing something about putting together a whole meal so that you can see what it all looks like on a plate. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and do check out some of the other videos on the Eating Mindset channel. Thank you.